am recording this session, so a pop-up may appear letting you know that this is being recorded. I also want to make sure that I have my Anna. No, it's not here anymore. Oh, there it is, captions. Zoom has updated for me, so it is looking a bit different than last week. Okay, hello and good evening to my Modesto friends. Before I kick off, I just wanted to see, is there anyone from the district that needed to say something before I get started?
Hi, Danny. It's Matthew.
Hi, there you are.
Hi. Welcome everyone. This is a series that we have in the PD catalog that Schoology, our vendor, is doing 2-hour PD sessions. And you can go to the PD catalog, search Schoology, and you can find these sessions in there. The only thing I have to share is towards the end of today, around 5:40 or so, I'll put a link in the chat for doing the attendance and a feedback survey.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, Matthew. And just a quick reminder, sorry I didn't click it while you were talking, but our trainings support your instructional core at Modesto. We are in this blue teardrop where we're supporting all learners, and Schoology is a great platform to be able to reach and differentiate and personalize and individualize all instruction for students. And if you were looking at the chat, we have people sharing ways that Schoology makes their life easier. So it's really cool to see some great use of Schoology that you guys are already using in your roles. Today's conversation, we are going to talk about using Schoology to help you collaborate, help increase communication, and managing content within Schoology. So we have a great day full of, a great 2 hours together talking about how Schoology can support those different pieces. Again, this is being recorded, and after the session is over, I will put the recording in the course that you guys will join. And then I also send, you guys can barely hear me. Let me check. Let's see.
Does that sound better? That microphone. Do you guys notice any difference? Yes, no? Nothing? Yes. Okay. I will use that that microphone for today's training. Let me just move to there we go. So I received a new computer. So I guess my microphone and stuff is not working like it used to. All right. Okay. Oh, so only one person could barely hear me. Oh, sorry, guys. Thanks for being patient. So my name is Danny Patterson, as you can see on the screen. I'm a learning and innovation coach at PowerSchool/Schoology. I have been here almost 2 years. Next week will be my 2-year anniversary with PowerSchool, so I'm really excited. Before coming to PowerSchool, I had different roles in education for 14 years. I was a teacher. I was a campus tech supporter. I was a digital learning coach. And then before I left the district, I was a director of digital learning. So lots of experience in using Schoology, because in both school districts that I worked out, I helped roll Schoology out from the ground up. So I've seen Schoology used in many different ways. Wife, mom, and I'm just very passionate about how to use EdTech in the teaching and learning. So that's a little bit about me, just so you know who it is that you have today. Instead of some norms, we like to just give you some reminders that this is a psychologically safe space. So I know learning new things can be uncomfortable, and I just want you to know, feel vulnerable. We're here to support each other, and we can answer any questions that you might come. There is a virtual parking lot within the content that you're welcome to use to ask questions, but just use the chat and Zoom. That's what that's there for. There is a lot of us in here. I see 30 participants, so unmuting might be a little bit difficult. Just go ahead and put it in the chat, and I will monitor it to answer any questions out loud, or even if you send them to me anonymously, I won't respond with your name out loud. And then, of course, like I said, this is being recorded. I will share with you where you can find those recordings at a later date, or here in just a bit. What I encourage is that you have a Schoology sandbox. So the reason we call it a sandbox is because kids play in a sandbox, they build things, they tear it down, they get messy. And so we like to encourage that you have a Schoology sandbox to kind of play around with things. So let me take a pause and let me share with you how you would create a Schoology sandbox course for those that may not have one, and you're actually building content within your course, which I usually don't recommend because students can turn on a notification letting them know when you build content. And so if you're not ready for them to see it, they may get that notification saying, oh, my teacher's in there working, and they may hop in there. So I do just want to encourage you to have that course to kind of get messy in. And so let me share with you how you create a course so that you can try these things out when we get there. We're not going to do it right this moment because we're going to be building a group first, and then we're going to build a course after. And when we do build that course, we will call it your Schoology Sandbox course. And again, we can use the same term for a group. But I want to make sure we know the difference between the two as we go. We're going to create some groups, and we're going to talk about how you can use those features of a group to communicate and collaborate with your teachers. We're going to get into the shared and public resources. We're going to use apps. We're also going to talk about courses and how courses encourage collaboration and communication. Just any place within Schoology that supports our goal for today, we're going to get into those different areas. I do have a course for today's training, and I'll share with you how you join a course. So let me get this code, and I'm going to put this code in the chat. It's a lot easier to copy and paste rather than trying to memorize all those letters and numbers. So open that chat up for me, and you will find that on the Zoom toolbar. There is where you turn on and off your microphone. It's also where you can share your screen if you were a presenter. But you're going to go in there now and grab that code from the Zoom chat. Once you copy that code, you will head into Schoology, and your navigation bar is right across the top of your Schoology. And I'm going to have you click on courses from the top. And after you click courses, you're going to take your mouse and you're going to drag your mouse over to where you see my courses. Again, you click courses, drag your mouse over, click my courses, and then we're going to look for a box that says join a course. Once you click on join a course, a box will appear and it will ask you for a course code. That course code again is in the chat and can also be found up on the screen.
Anyone having any issues with joining, please let me know. All right, I'm going to move on in one more minute. Just want to give you guys just a couple more, just one more minute, and then we'll move on. You may want to write this code down if you're not able to do it right now, or take a quick screenshot or picture. I did put it in the chat, so it is still there. Once I move off of this screen, it will get you, again, it's in the chat. Once you have joined my course, when you click on courses at the top, you may not see it because that means you're in over 12 courses and it's organized by the time that you join the course. So this course, of course, is newer, so it's going to hit at the bottom of your list. So let me help you for today's training just with a tech tip for today. So let's go. If you're following along with me because you want to do this tech tip, you'll click on that top left of your Schoology, which should have MCS on it. When you click on that, you'll get to a landing page. Your landing page may have recent activity underlined, which is fine. I'm going to ask you to click over to Course Dashboard. Once you click into Course Dashboard, these tiles you can move around. So I can move them in an order that I want. So let's scroll to the bottom because the course that you just joined may make it to the bottom. So my course may be down there. Grab that course card and move it all the way up. I kind of shake it left and right to get it up there a little bit faster and get it to where it's up at the top. This is going to help you today so that when you click on courses, it will be the first couple of courses for today's training. After today's training, you can head back to that same area and you can click on it and move it down to the bottom. And then it'll be there for the next time that you join one of these sessions. I am using the same session, or I'm sorry, the same course for all of these sessions. So if you were there for my Schoology refresher last month, it is the same course. But once you get it where you need it, if you open it up, you'll see I have just a welcome. I have the instructional core. Today's training is in a pink folder. It looks like this. And then this blue folder, Getting Refreshed with Schoology, happened on October 23rd. And so even though you were not there with this refresher, you are welcome to click back in here and check out what you might have missed out on, as well as I do want to share with you how in this folder my session recording was in there. I will put the recording from today's session in this November 13th. So if you're wanting to go back and rewatch anything today, again, it will be in that pink folder for today's date. Let's go ahead and let's open that pink folder. And if you remember, you'll click on the title of the folder, or you can even click on the icon that's on the folder. Just to kind of get us warmed up today, I know you guys have probably been very busy, so being able to kind of communicate with everyone might be a little bit harder. So we're going to kind of do a little warm up today, kind of talk amongst each other. And what we'll do is we'll get into that pink folder again. In here is a warm-up. It is a page within Schoology. And when you open up this warm-up, you're going to see a spinner and you're going to see a slideshow. Now, the way that this goes is while you're in the breakout room, one of you, partner one, can share the screen. And if you're having a hard time deciding who can be our number one, why don't you select the person with the shortest hair? The person with the shortest hair will spin the spinner and share their screen. Whatever they land on, they're going to answer that question. As you can see, I land on yellow. So I'm going to answer the question that if I had a magic wand, I would. Then we turn over to the next person, spin the spinner for person two. You may have three people in your room. Same thing with third person. We have arrows to the right. So even though I'm on slide one, we're going to click over to the arrow to slide two and then over to slide three. So there's only 3 slides here just to kind of get to know your members within this group, as well as a great activity on messing with using a page within Schoology, which is a great tool for communication. And we'll talk about those here today. But we'll get you started with this breakout room. We're only going to be in them for 5 minutes. When you come back, I'd love to hear how it goes. I have the rooms ready to go and I'm going to open them and I'll see you guys back here in, wait, where's my settings? 5 minutes. Ooh, man, Zoom has really changed things down. Hold on, this is not the way I like it. Okay. Okay, I'm ready. See you guys back here in 5. Be smart to unmute. Welcome back, everyone. I hope you enjoyed that time participating in our first activity through today's training. I encourage one of the perks as a presenter is that I could see who were participating and who were not during this time. And I really encourage you guys to please participate, to try out the learning. As you guys know, from the teacher standpoint, that with Bloom's taxonomy, the best part of learning is the applying the learning and trying it out. So definitely want to encourage you guys to definitely participate in today's training. Is this the slide you were looking for? I did put the code in the chat, so I will put it right back in there so you can just copy and paste so that we can move on. We will talk about pages here later when we get to courses, and I can share with you how that was created. It's really kind of an advanced trick, but if we have time today, I'll get into how that was done. So in here, I just want to review the different parts of Schoology. So if you were there for the refresher, this should be familiar to you. If not, this is just a quick refresher because I always get the question, what is the difference between courses and groups? So I'm just going to do a quick review. So again, when you're looking at Schoology, up at the top, you see courses, you see groups, and you see resources. Not everyone sees tools. I just happen to be a system admin, so I do. Most administrators at your district or system admins of Schoology get this tools icon. The three main areas that we'll talk about today are courses, groups, and resources. So courses is the backbone of teaching. This is governed by start and end dates, which is usually your grading periods, your school year, your semesters. And this is, I like to explain at like a two-way street. You post something, students submit work back, you give feedback or a grade. And so that's a two-way street going on here. So you can distribute materials, you can give assignment, and this is where you're grading. Grading happens in Schoology courses. Now, one perk of courses is announcements to contribute to communication. We also have calendar items. All of those pieces will help with that communication piece. Now, when we get to groups, this is different. This is really a one-way street. We're putting communication in there. We're putting collaboration happening there. We're putting content in there. You cannot ask people to submit work into a group. Great place for curriculum sharing, like we mentioned, grade level teams, maybe sports teams or after school clubs, faculty departments. And the perk of a group is once a group is created, it stays until either you remove yourself from the group or the group is deleted. And then the third area is resources. So this is your file cabinet, your virtual file cabinet of Schoology content. And that's probably where we're going to kick off today, is getting into resources and talking about what we can do with it. So again, we'll get into resources and how to help with collaboration and communication. We'll get into groups. And then finally, at the end, we will get into courses. So let's head to our Schoology. So you guys should all be in your Schoology. Let's start by clicking on that resources tab. We're going to work our way backwards. We're going to go resources, groups, courses. Let's click on resources, and your screen should look very similar to mine. Again, virtual file cabinet of Schoology content. So you may be wondering, when will I use this? Well, you can build content here if you wanted and then send it to your courses. You can, if let's say you're teaching math, 6th grade math this year, but next year they're bumping you up to, let's say, 8th grade, maybe algebra 1, and you're thinking, well, I don't want to lose that content. I worked really hard on it. So you can always move your content from your 6th grade math current course into your resources. So when you're in Algebra 1, if you have those students that might be struggling, you have content to pull from. And it's right there in your resources, and it's gone, it's never gone. And then at the end of the year, when your principal comes to you and says, hey, you want to go back to 6th grade math? You can say, yes, I kept all my work right where I can find it. So again, that is a perk of a resource, is that it's there for you to organize your content, your Schoology content. So if you look at my screen, I want to put your direction to this area kind of in the left. And here is a place to help you with organization. So as you can see, I'm highlighting the area I'm looking at, and this is going to allow you to organize. So if you're like me, my Google Drive and my OneDrive is folders, main folders, and then I put content inside of the folder. So as you can see here, I have question banks, I have core courses, I have an area for my rubrics, I have my area for my 2023 resources. But that's the way that I have my resources organized. So you may want to think about, how do I want to organize my work? So to get these little banker boxes, that's what they look like to me. Schoology calls them collections. They don't call them banker boxes, sorry. And so to get your own in this area, you'll click up here. It's really tiny at the top. Come on, zoom in. Why aren't you zooming in now? Now it doesn't want to zoom in. Up here at the top, you see my little banker box. That will get you to add your own. So when you click on it, it asks for a title. So again, I'm going to do my 6th grade math because this is, again, where I'm going to put all that 6th grade math work in at the end of the year, or maybe middle of the year, I need to move, or maybe this is the first time you're ever doing that and you're like, I didn't even know I can organize this. So go ahead and add a collection, select create. Once you do that, you'll see it gets added to your list. If you don't need it anymore, you can click here, you can rename it, and you can also delete it. Again, thinking of this as your Google Drive or OneDrive is organizing it by folders. I'm going to delete it because I have a lot here. Also, as you can see, I have content and my screen goes on forever. I'm very embarrassed by this organization, so please don't judge me. But now you may say, I want to take my content that I have over here and move it into that folder. You just click check mark the ones that you want. So I want those, now you want to zoom in. I want those 3 items, material types, to move into a folder. I just check mark them. Up here at the top, there is this edit. I click on it and it says move to. So when I click on move to, it's going to ask what collection. Remember, I told you, Schoology calls those banker boxes collections. So I'm going to click on it, and now I could say my 2023 courses, click there. It asks if there's a folder. I don't want it in the folders that are already there. I click on move, and it will take that material and move it into the folder. So that's just a quick way to organize. If you have a dumping ground like I do right here of just content, that's how you can get that content from here into folders. Now, if you have nothing here and it's clean, and this is the first time you've ever been in this area, I'll show you how you can get your work from courses into this area that you've already created. However, if you want to build work here first, which everyone builds their content differently. When I was a teacher, I built mine in a sandbox course. Schoology recommends building it in resources or group. Again, it's very much preference, but you can just click on this add resources and you can see that from right here, I can start building my content. So I can create a folder, title it week of, December 3rd, and in there I can start building things. I can add assignments, assessments, item banks, files, links, discussion, yada, yada, yada. All of that can be built right here. And then once I build it, I can then send it to my course if I want. Also, you have the option to reorder your collection. So if you kind of start realizing I want my items in this specific order, you do have a reorder option. The auto arrange will just auto arrange it in ABC order with the numbers and characters will go first. So they do have that capability. So like I said, you build a folder, you're ready for that folder now to go into your course. You just have to come over to this gear, click the gear, and you can add straight to course. So this is taking one folder and sending it straight to my course. So if I click on that, add to course, you're going to see the option to add to all of my courses. The one that we're in right now, I just click on it. It will ask me if there is a folder I want to send it to. But in the meantime, I just have to click add. And now the content that I built in my resources are now going into a course. Let's say I'm going to use the example of now I'm an Algebra 1 teacher, but I have all this great 6th grade math content, and the 6th grade math teachers are coming to me and saying, Danny, you are awesome. Love your work. Give you some Starbucks. Can we have your content, please? Well, that's great because I just need to come over. I can click the gear next to the folder again, and where you see copy to, this copy to is going to allow me to copy it to collections, which again, these are my collections, or look down here, it says group resources. So I can actually send this to my 6th grade math group if I wanted, and they will get their own copy of my work. Now, before you ask, because I know somebody's going to ask, if you make a change in the work and the resources, will it make a change for them in that group? No. Go ahead and say that. Once they get a copy of it, that's all that they're getting. They do not get any changes you make unless it was like a link to a Google document or something. That's about the only thing that they'll get the most up-to-date version. So I say I want it to go into the group titled math, and then it will ask me what folder do you want it to go within math. So again, there are perks to building content within your resources, and then there's also however you feel comfortable in sharing it. Oh no, I got the spinny thing. Don't do this to me. Let's see. All right, hold on one second. I'm gonna stop sharing for a second. Sometimes it like freezes on me with Zoom. Oh no. Oh no. All right, let's see. Oh, thank you guys for being patient. Don't know what's going on. Okay, it's coming back to life. Give me 1 second. Okay, here we go. Let's share screen. Thank you for your patience. You guys all know technology works when it wants to work, right? Okay, so here we are back into my resources. Any questions about the things that I had just shared with you, dealing with building content right there in resources, a collection, and sharing work from resources to groups and courses? If you have any questions, find the chat in Zoom and be sure to put them in there as I go. I also want to point out a perk of creating these banker boxes. So as you build these banker boxes or collections, what's really cool is that my last year's courses, if I wanted, check this out. Once I'm in my banker box, you do not get it when you're under your home. As you can see, look right here. You only get 2 options. But when I go into my group titled 22-23 courses, look at this button that I get. I get this button titled share. So if I wanted to, I could share a whole banker box with people by clicking on share, and it's going to ask who is it that you are okay with getting into this folder. And again, you guys are sharing it. So they're going to get in the folder, you're going to get in the folder. This is a collaborative collection within Schoology. So I'm going to choose somebody. I'll share it with Rachel Green. If I click on permission, you'll see that it only shows me right now. But now that I've added her and I click on sharing, it's set to permissions now. And Rachel Green has view only. So that means she can't make any changes of the work that I've made in here. She can only view them, make a copy to her course, but she can't edit anything. If I want her to help me with the content, make sure everything is up to date, I can click on this drop down and I can change it to edit. So her and I can both edit on the work that's being built in there. Once you share your folders with people like I am or your collections, when they look at their resources, they're going to see this area down here. As you can see with mine, it says shared by others. As you can see, it looks like that. And that again is a collection that is shared with all these people. And we all get in there and we share content that helps us when we're building courses. And I'll show you how that looks. any questions about this so far? I don't see anything in the chat, but I do want to give a pause. All right. So while we're in this area, I just want to make sure that you know the options you see over here. So a couple of things I do want to point out is that we are in our personal resources. So this belongs to you. Below personal is a public resources. So you may not know that this is even here. So think teacher pay teachers, but free and only for Schoology users. As you can see, give it a second to load. It takes a bit of time because there are a lot of content in here. Once it loads, I want to point out that across the top, we have a search bar. We have a subject area filter. We have a resource type filter, a grade level filter, a file format filter, and a rating filter. So you are welcome to search and find content that you don't have to create. Someone else has already created. And if you like the content, you will click right here next to the item. As you can see, this grammar lesson I have already added to my resources, but these right here will allow you to add them to your resources. Now pause before you start adding things and look at my screen because I want to show you how once you add something, you'll go back to your personal and you'll look right here where it says downloads. And in the downloads is going to be anything that you download from your personal resources. So this is like your downloads folder on your computer. It just gets full of junk. So then once you look at it and you're like, yep, I do want to keep it, you can click the gear and you can move it straight to the course. You can copy it to a group or to a collection. You are able to do whatever you want. You want to manipulate it. When you're in the public area, you can't manipulate anything until you move it to your downloads. Oh, great question. This is all Schoology users. Everyone that has a Schoology account can put content in here. Let's check out this growth mindset materials. I've never seen that one. Nice. Very cool. If you like it, click on it. All right, one more minute, and I'm going to ask you guys to move away from this area. I know it's very tempting to get lost. What I recommend is put a sticky note next to your desk right now and write, come back after today's session. And the very first thing I recommend is come back to this public resource. I probably lost a bunch of you to that, but I'm going to ask you to put down a to-do list and come back to this later. And so once my clock strikes 6:30 for me, I'm going to move on. All right, the time is 6:30 here for me. So we're going to move on. After the public resources, as you can see, I just want to point out the options over here. Below that is group resources. So any group that you are a member of will now be listed in this way. I'm not going to stay here long because this is what you'll see when you get to groups. So know that even though I'm just showing you this area, you can get to the same spot within the group. You don't have to come to this area. I just want you to know that it's here. And then finally, the apps. So I mentioned how this area and resources is a lot like a virtual file cabinet, but did you know that within this area under apps, you can get to your Google Drive if you have it set up. And so to set it up, you just have to click on that Google Drive resource app. Hopefully it's listed there. You click on it, you log into your Google Drive, and as you can see, it meets you right here. If this is a slide you're ready to share with your students, you can click the gear. You can import the file into your course, a link into your course. I don't know if you'd want to do a private link into the course, but there may be a reason. But I can send it, click on it, and I can choose the course I want it to go into, or I can share it into a resources, which is one of my collections. Remember, we looked at them. That was the way that we organized it, or even a group resources. So as you build things in your Google Drive, you can go from this area and then send it to your courses or groups. Okay, so I have shared all I can really share within resources. We're going to move to groups. I just want to check if there were any questions about this area of Schoology before I move into groups. All right. I'm going to publish a folder in today's content, and this is folder of resources for you. It's resources about resources. Isn't that funny? But in here, you'll find what are they, how to add a collection, how to organize, how to share, or how to even, which I would hold on to this for the end of the year. You may even see a training about this closer to the end of the year, how to save your entire course at the end of the year and send it to your into your course. I'm sorry, save all of your materials of that course and send it into your resources. So you have that course ready and will be easy to kind of pick through and grab what you want. That is there for you. You may hear it again, May time frame, even from your district people. They just want to make sure that you know, don't panic. Nothing goes away within Schoology, but that's there for you just to kind of be more prepared. All right, so let's talk about groups. As you can see here, when I click on groups from my navigation pane, here are a couple of examples of groups. First of all, any big Swifties here? We have a group where we talk about all the cool things going on with Taylor Swift. And as you can see, these little badges across the top right, or shields is another way that it looks. Those means that I am an administrator of the groups. These are my groups. I built them. I am in charge of them. I can invite you to join my group. I can add you. I can do a code, and you can use that code to request to join. There's a lot of ways that you can create a group. If I compare this to Facebook, it's very similar to that. Do you want the Facebook group to be public? Yes or no? Can they request to join, or do you have to have an invite only? It's the same kind of thing here, okay? We also have a group, and this group is for our staff. This is our campus group. So you're brand new to our campus, you get your Schoology account. We add you manually to this group, like it's one of my jobs, and I get all the new teachers added in here. This is really great because you have access to our grade level folders. Weekly newsletters are in here. The schedules throughout the whole campus can be found here. Any type of parent communication, item banks, assessments. There's so much in here. If you are a member of my staff, you come here to get all of the things. No longer do you need to go dig through your email to find where this week's newsletter is, or where are all of our data for our digital digital online books, anything that is related to the campus can be found in here. And so what's really great about a group for staff is that, let's say I am the principal of that group and then I get moved to a different campus, the group doesn't leave with me. All that we need to do is remove somebody from that group and add the new principal, and all of that stuff, all of those materials we created stay in that group. It's so wonderful. We also use groups for communicating. So, hey, be on Zoom. Don't forget the book tasting. We even have a calendar. So I could add an event in the calendar. Like, for example, we're going to have a staff meeting next week. I just have to click the date. We'll put next Wednesday, and it will begin promptly at 4 p.m. And I can put some more information in here. I could even put agenda. What is the topic that we're going to talk about? I'm going to select create. And now all my staff members, when they log into Schoology, over here where it says upcoming events, they will see that they have a staff meeting during Thanksgiving break. Terrible example, but as you can see, they know that they have a staff meeting. It shows up on their Schoology calendar. Also, when I click on groups, a great idea. I know that you guys use tools to communicate with parents, which is just fine. But if you're sending a lot of content and you want them to find one place, an idea could be a group. Also, 2024 seniors. So this is where we're posting scholarship opportunities. Don't forget about cap and gown try-ons, the ring, maybe their senior jackets. Congratulations to Danny Patterson for getting signed at Kansas State University. But this is going to be the one area where we are posting one-way communication that is meant for seniors that are graduating this year. Another group is a collaboration cafe within fourth grade teachers. And this is only for fourth grade teachers where we come together and we're like, hey, we're getting on a math unit. Does anyone have any cool resources? That will happen here. I have a chess club because after school, I need to be able to talk to my students and remind them to bring their pieces. I would put all of our chess club dates over here on the right. In our albums, we have pictures from our competition. I even have all of their videos to watch. So again, I don't need to send out a link after a link after a link. I'm going to put them in this folder, and how to play chess video links will be here for them. Another great idea for creating a group. Again, as you can see, once you have 12 or more groups, they will be listed just like this. If you have more, you can always reorganize it so that most 12 groups that you use more frequently are listed here when you log into Schoology. So let's begin by creating a group together. And this can just be a group for practice. After today, you can delete it, get rid of it, or maybe you are just now really excited to create a group. So this is going to be a group that you plan to use and take further. So let's talk about how you create a group. And I'm going to have you follow along with me by clicking that groups on the top navigation bar. Once you've done that, I'm going to ask you to click on My Groups, which you'll take your mouse and come all the way over to the right. And as you can see, there is that My Groups. Again, Groups, drag your mouse over, My Groups, and click on it. In this area, as you can see, these are all the groups that I am in. If I have the gear next to the group, that means I'm an administrator of the group. The shield also tells me I'm an administrator group. You see some of these I am not. That means I am a member. So over here on the right are the places if somebody gives you an access code and they say, hey, I would love for you to join my Swifties group. You can join the group. You can put the code in there. And then same concept, the way that you guys joined my course. Same exact thing. Creating a group, you just click on create group. So again, we're going to go through these steps together. So go ahead and click on create group, and we are going to give it a name. So let's call this, let's see, what's coming, anything? Oh, we'll do like a basketball group. You can put a description. What is this for? If you have this public where people can find it and join, they may want to know what is this group for. And that's where you could put it. Let's talk about privacy. Now, you may not have as many drop down as I have. Mine is this way because I'm a system admin. You may only have school, group, no one, or custom. When you click on school, as you can see, only accessible to people in your school. So if there's an elementary school creating this, high schools cannot join or cannot see it. They cannot see it. They can still join if they get invited or have an access code. Group means only the people in the group can find this group and see this group. No one, I don't recommend doing that because then no one can find it and it's pointless. So let's go ahead and stick to group for this example. As you change it, you'll see it tells you over here in gray what that means. So this is privacy. This is who can see the group. I have it set to only members of the group can see it. So I want it to be private. Now, who can access it? So what if you have this open to where anyone at your school can find it, then they will be able to access it. And so if so, how do you want them to be able to access your group? The option here says invite only, meaning they must be invited. I have to invite them for them to be able to join this group. I can change it to allow requests. So if this privacy was open to the school, they can see it. They have to request if they can join, and then I approve requests. Or open, meaning anyone at this campus can join this group. They don't even need an access code. They just see it, they find it, they join it. It's that easy. For my example, I'm going to select allow requests. Once you've gone through those steps, you'll come and you'll click the create button and you will have created your first group. Ta-da! Any questions? I'm going to pause right there for questions. Don't see any questions, so I'm going to keep moving on. Just wanted to check before I go too much further. Now, I am not a huge fan of these blue rectangles that Schoology defaults to, so I like to have a picture. Now, you may have pictures on your computer, maybe of your basketball team, but for this example, I'm just going to go to Google Images and I'm going to borrow a photo. Oh, great question. Okay, I will go through those steps. Ooh, we'll use this. This one's cool. Ooh, I like that one. Oh, this is hard to pick. Here, we'll use that one. Okay. I'm gonna right click. I'm just gonna save this image into my downloads and borrow. Ooh, that one was good too. It's so hard to pick just one, guys. Okay, I'm gonna pause really quickly because I had a question. It's an anonymous question, so I'm not gonna say it out loud. And they said that they created the group, but they don't see it when they click on the groups. So what you want to do is you want to go groups. Again, they don't see it when they click on groups. And as you can see, my basketball group is not listed here. So I'm gonna click on groups. I'm gonna click on my groups. Once I do that, all of my groups are listed here. So I can click on basketball group because it's right there. I do have 2 pages, so I may have to go down and scroll to 2 pages, but you may also want to do my trick that I did with courses with your groups. And so to do that, you can click on reorder groups. And again, this little line right here says groups that appear below this line will not appear in the groups drop down. So I can come down, my basketball group is down here at the bottom, and I'm going to drag it all the way up so then it's at the top. I can't have it before the Swifties, sorry. It's just hard for me. So now when I click on groups, as you can see, my basketball group is right there at the top now. Great question. Thank you for asking that. I would have forgot to share that, so it worked out well. And then, yes, we'll talk about how you get people to join in just a minute. I have all my steps planned. So let's change this photo from this blue rectangle. When I click on edit picture, Schoology does provide photo options. Again, it's basketball. I might as well upload a photo of a basketball. So I'm gonna click on attach files. It should be in my downloads. There it is. And now, as you can see, my basketball group has basketball. It's pretty cool, huh? So anytime you need to edit a photo, just hover over it and you have edit picture. So this area is going to be the area that you communicate. Please meet in the South Gym on Thursday for our practice. The North Gym is being renovated. Sorry, talking and spelling is not my forte. What are the dimensions for custom image? I would have to go find it. Maybe it is in my course. Canva, if you go into Canva and you just search Schoology, some of those work perfectly. But I don't know the exact that answer yet. I will look for you. I can, on my updates, I can bold, italicize, underline, I can indent, I can add links, I can even add an image in my update if I wanted. See? So I could add, let's see, I have some, let's add this cute little robot I got today. He's a little too big, so I can shrink him by dragging these circles around. You're like, why is she using a robot when we're talking about basketball? I don't know, he's cute. He's a little Power School robot. And then down below, I can attach files. So let's say I'm telling them to sign a permission slip. Like, hey, don't forget to sign your permission slip so you can go to this away game. I can attach that file right here to my post so that my students have the permission slip with, yeah, we'll do that, with their with the post, like they can't miss it. And if they have the Schoology app on their cell phone, I don't know if you can tell this is my cell phone, they will also get that from their fingertips. So they'll see that you posted an update and they will have the permission slip. So they could easily text it to their mom and be like, hey, I need you to sign this. How cool is that? You can attach links. So maybe the link to the location of the away game, maybe hotel. You can add audio video recording. So I could record audio or I can record audio and video to go with my update. And we even have a polling option. This is an anonymous poll, so maybe you just need to know, hey, I need a head count for how many of you are eating pizza today, yes or no. So again, anonymous, won't know who clicked what. I'm going to click this post, and now as you can see, I posted an update. When my students log into Schoology, it will show up under their recent activity. If they have email set up, it will email them this. And again, if they have that Schoology app downloaded, it will push notification to their phone. They will see Danny Patterson, please meet in the South Gym, and it will have the PDF that they can open up and get the permission slip for their parent. So Schoology updates in a group are helpful when you have groups, thinking of this as a grade level. Hey guys, let's come together on Friday to talk about this unit. Here's a great video I found offline talking about, a different topic, but this is like a thread of conversation. So come January, when you get a new 6th grade math teacher, all you have to do is add them to this group and they will have access to all of the conversations that you had. Talking about this being my basketball group, I could add all of our practices on here. I can add away games, home games, pep rallies, and when they log into Schoology, that will be listed on their calendar. And again, if they have that Schoology app on their phone, it will show up when they check their Schoology calendar. All right, let's go down to discussions. Now, discussions are very much as they see. Let's say you have a staff group. You could have a book study happening. This can be, hey, what colors should we wear for this game? And then people can comment in here. Albums can be photo albums. So I can title this the October, well, I guess it's November, the November 14th game photos. And the players can come in after the game is over and they can grab photos that they like of themselves, add it to their social media pages or whatnot. But we can create now media albums within this. Thinking about a staff group, maybe you did a really cool lesson and you could add your photos here. In the members section, here comes a question about how do I get people to join? You have a couple ways that you can get people to join your group. The first way is giving this access code right here. If I were to give you guys this access code, you would get into Schoology, select groups, my groups, join a group, and you would put this code in. Now, I might want to be very selective about who gets in. Like I want to double check that that person is really who I want to join, I can click this checkbox right here, and it says that I have to approve them. So up here, you'll see you'll see members, you'll see admins, and then you'll see pending. So if they use this code, they will go under pending until you approve them. You will also get a notification up here under requests, letting you know that somebody has asked to join your group, and you can even approve them from there. Now that is by giving them a code and asking them to join. Another way you can do it is just by manually adding them. Like, you're my team, we're sitting together, you created the group, well, go ahead and add me. Don't even worry about, inviting me. Just don't give me the code, just add me, hurry. So you can do that by clicking on that add members up here at the top. Locate your member that you want to add. I'm going to invite Rachel Green. So again, if this is my basketball group, I can go ahead and add all my players. I don't need to invite them and give them a code. Now take notice over here on this bottom left. Sorry, that was a terrible zoom in. Oh, it won't do it right. Let's see. There we go. It says add members without an invite. So in case, again, I just want you to add me. I don't want to be invited. I can click this button right here and it will manually add them right away. So once I click add members, as you can see, she's in there. If I do not click that button, oops, I did not mean to click that. Sorry, let me delete her. If I go to add her and I do not click it and I click add members, it says that she was invited to the group. She will remain pending until she accepts the invitation. So again, if you're creating a group with students, I do not recommend this way if you just need them in that group for communication, because now, as you can see, Rachel Green has 33 notifications. She is a student. She is very busy. When she clicks on that, she may not even notice that she has a request because she's a very busy student, but she has to click here and she has to click accept to join my group. So you may be over here posting away and sharing all great communication, but Rachel Green has no idea that this is happening because she is still considered pending in your group. So if you did that and you want her to manually be added, just withdraw the invite, click on all members, and add her by clicking the without invite button. Now, don't be going and just inviting everyone to your group. They may not want to be in there, so just be cautious. And over here on the left, as you can see, it says leave this group. So yes, people can manually leave your group, just a heads up. If you're adding people to groups, just know that they can leave if needed, which is good because, as you know, in a course, once you're in a course, you can't leave a course unless the admin unenrolls you. Or unless you guys have the sync set up, of course. In resource, this is going to be your organization of information. So for example, I'm going to put in here forms. These are all the forms that I need are going to go in here. I'm going to have a folder of stretches. So that can be in there. And I can have a folder for away games. And then, as you can see, we can start organizing it. So students don't have to go searching their emails or their papers that you're sending home. You can keep all of that in here. Students are on the go and they need the away game schedule or they need the hotel links. They can open up that Schoology app on their phone, go into their group, and they have all of the information that they need right here at their fingertips. I do want to talk about one more area within a group that is important, but before I do, any questions? I wanted to see if the group course images are in here. I don't see any. I will search on that. Let's see. Course and group profile photos. Ideal size. Here you go. I'll put this in the chat for you. Okay. Hopefully that helps. Okay, so the area that I want to get into is right here where you see group options. It is below my group image. You may not have even seen it's there, but I want to talk about this area because it's important when you get into groups. So if you ever made a mistake and maybe instead of saying basketball group, you wanted to change it to the lady basketball group, you can always come in and you can edit the name of your groups from this area. You can change your privacy and access if you realize, oh no, kids are getting into this group and I don't want them in it. How do I change what I originally set? You can come in here and you can change that. Again, where did I do that? Under your group image is group options. And we went into edit info. I'm going to take you to the edit privacy settings. And in here, you have some settings I just want to talk you through. So right now it is set that all the members of the group can find the group, can see updates, can see calendar, can see resources, can see roster, which means the members in the group, and can see discussion board. Now we are a basketball group. Really do not need a discussion board, so I can turn that off. And so now when they look at my group, that discussion area isn't there. And I think that's huge depending on the purpose of your group. Roster, you may not want kids to see who other kids with it who are in that group on purpose. You may be waiting until after all tryouts are over. So you can also click on no one and then no one can see who's in the group. If they do post, of course, that's going to show them who's in the group that way. Resources, who can see that area. This is like visibility setting. Now down here are some other settings. And here we have post group updates. So right now it's set that all members can post group updates. For my basketball group, that's fine. I don't mind if they post, hey, what is it that we're bringing Friday? And then maybe one of the students will respond and answer that question before I get to it. So that might be helpful. But in a group like that class of 2024, I only want group admins to post. I do not want anyone else. If it is a teacher group, again, all members is perfect. Maybe with the staff group, you only want the group admin. So just think about who can post updates, who can comment on those updates. Again, think about the purpose of your group and who you want to be able to comment. Who can create discussions? Well, I'm turning that off, so I'm just going to leave it to group admins, just, extra setting for security. And then who can create resources? So if this is a 6th grade math group, I don't want to be the only one creating content in here. So I want everyone to help do that. Now, if this is a basketball group, I'm going to keep it to only group admins uploading resources. So just letting you know that that area, this area is important so that you can set it how you want. Speaking of, you may want somebody to be an admin more than just you. And when you're in that member section, as you add people to your group, you can click the gear and you can make admin. So you can have multiple admin. Something happens to you, you win the lottery and you decide, I'm not coming back to school tomorrow. Your other admin can take over the group. Or again, you move to a different district or a different campus, you don't do basketball anymore. Rather than the basketball group falling apart, I just add a new admin. All of the work is still in there. They don't need to recreate a group. Who are the choices on add members? When you click on add members, in here you see parents, if they have a Schoology account, you see teachers, staff members, you also see students. You see everyone at your campus that has a Schoology account. All right, I think I went through everything you might need to know about a group. Are there any questions out there? So you built content in your resources, right? We were in the resources area. You have content from, let's say, you did basketball at a different campus, you moved it in your resources, and now you want to move it into this new group. How do you get the work from resource or from a group and pull resources in? Well, from resources, when I click on add resources, one of the options down below is to copy from resources. So when I click on that, give it a second. You're going to see my banker boxes or my collections are listed here. And I can now click on it. Any groups that I've shared with others will be listed here. Group resources are in here, so I can move them from a group into this group. And I can even add resources from my Google Drive into this group as well. Okay. No other questions about groups? All right, I did publish a folder. Within that folder, as you can see, I have all these pages of information. Here's a great image or a media album, and they have images of district ways that people are using their groups. This is a group used for workshop. In here is a group for observations, so instructional rounds. Just kind of giving some ideas for those that might be working with district admin on how they might use groups in Schoology. So let's get into courses now and talk about how courses can support communication. So you will want to open a course, or I'm going to show you how to create a sandbox course for today. So, oh, before I go, I can't believe I almost forgot this area. Within groups, under my groups, I almost forgot. If you created that group and you do not want it anymore, you can click the gear right here and you can delete it. And so if you were just using it for practice and you don't want to keep it in your groups, you are able to delete it. Also up at the top, you do have an area, if possible, to show any school groups. You may not have that area. But another area is public groups, and these are public groups within Schoology. So like, for example, be very cautious if you join a group, because as you can see, this one has over 57,000 members in it, and you can join them at any time. Click this button next to it to join. And if it becomes crazy and you're like, I don't think I want to be in this group anymore, the same area that I showed you to leave a group, you can leave a public group as well. Taking forever to open that one up. Doesn't want to open up for me. All right, so let's go create a course for our sandbox. We're going to click on courses, and then we're going to take our mouse over and we're going to click my courses. So courses, my courses. You went through these steps when we joined my course, but instead of joining a course, we're going to create a course. So follow with me. So from here, you will give the course a name. So again, sandbox, Patterson. Actually, if I remember correctly, it is highly encouraged that you put your last name with this because there are a lot of sandbox courses in your district, and it just helps to kind of differentiate whose is whose. But do not click on any that try to populate, because if you do, you will be what's the word, duplicating somebody else's course. So we don't want that to happen. If you accidentally click on those course, go ahead and click the X back out and then click on create course again so that you can start your own course rather than duplicating somebody else's. So don't click on anything that populates, click off of it and it will go away. Where it says section 1, I usually encourage putting the year because as you're practicing and it gets messy, you're going to want a new one next year. You can do that. The subject area and level we do have to have. As you can see, they have the asterisk. So for grade level, you can select your grade level. For level, you can select your level that you teach, or you can choose a range. So I teach 3rd through 5th, so I can have my range here. Finally, the last thing we are going to do is this grading periods area. And what we need you to do is we need to have you grab this bar and pull it as far down as you can and select the very last grading period. As you can see mine, it is set to expire or archive. It doesn't delete, just remember that come November 28, 2031, this course will then archive. So seeing how it's a sandbox course, I don't want it to archive any earlier. I want to be able to maybe choose when it archives. And so I can click the grading periods. Now the courses that you have are already created for you from PowerSchool. You are not able to change this information for them. The only reason you're able to do this right now is because you're manually creating it. So go ahead and click create and you'll get a sandbox course just as you see with mine. And we're just going to practice some communication tools within a course. Pausing to make sure there aren't any issues or questions. All right, so here we are into our course. Now let's talk about ways to communicate within a course. Well, first things first, remember the courses that you have, not the sandbox course, is going to be created by your grade book. Your students are added. You don't have to touch that. That's already done for you. Things that you can do to communicate with them is to use this calendar. So in here, I'm going to click on add event. And I'm going to let them know that, maybe, Mrs. Patterson will be out this day just to communicate that I'm going to be out. Add it to the calendar. We're going to take a practice benchmark here. I'll put that so they know, hey, come to school prepared to participate in a benchmark. I'm going to put no school on the days there's no school, so on and so forth. Because again, my students' calendar will now populate with these events on their calendar. And what a skill to teach them to check a calendar each day. Like, oh, I live by my calendar. I don't know who taught me. I taught myself probably, or maybe it was back in middle school and I'd carry that agenda around every day and fill it out. But here, we're doing it for them. We're putting it on our class. As you create events, you can even copy the event to courses. So you don't have to recreate that event in every single course. I can create it one time and copy it to all of my courses. Earlier, I mentioned that some teachers are building their content in resources, or they are putting in resources the content that they had last year or the year before that. And so now I want to get that stuff from my resources area and I want to move it into the course. So I can do so by clicking on add materials. And there's that import from resources again. I'm going to click on it. And as you can see, here is my resources that we saw a bit ago. So I'm going to come in here, click on the courses from last year. I'm going to open this up. I can say, I only want unit 1 first. Like I only want this to come in first. So only unit 1 will come in. So as you can see, I can go folder by folder, or let me show you the other way. Add materials, import from resources. I can choose that folder and I can click import. And now all of the content that was inside of the folder comes into Schoology. Excuse me. Give it a moment. Sometimes it takes a little bit more. A green bar will come across the top that says it has been imported, or it may say something like it's transferring. It says something to the effect like it'll let you know when it's done. And so you'll get an email saying transfer completed. And so as you can see, this is all of my science from last year. Rather than having this whole folder published to my kids, I could unpublish it. And as you can see, it's unpublished, so no one can see my work. And when I'm ready for my students to see Unit 1, I can expand the folder. I can drag the folder out, click a quick refresh just so that it sticks, and then I can publish it as I go. So rather than all of my units being published to them, I can control the content coming from my resources here. And again, when I click that add materials, import from resources, I can click the work I want. Let's say I want that. I want this assessment. We'll take this link and I'll click import, and it puts all of my work that I selected again from my resources area. How do you copy a calendar invite to all classes? As you create the invite, you can only do it when it's created. Oops, sorry. Oh my goodness. Sorry, guys. I'm still learning this new computer and new mouse. So when you click add event, you have to scroll to the bottom down here, this little clipboard and paper. When you click on that, it's going to ask where do you want it to be copied. So you just check mark, and that will make a copy of the calendar invite to all of your classes. Great question. You can't do it after the event is created. You have to do it during the event. One of my biggest suggestion when we talk about communication in Schoology is that if it were my course, my very first folder up here at the top of my course would be a classroom information folder. I can't tell you how many times I lived around military bases, so as a transient population of students, I can tell you how many times after passing out all of my syllabuses and all of my get to know me's, I would get a new student. And I'd be like, oh. And so what I could have done is I could have created a folder that says classroom information, and in there I could put those documents. So here's my course, and I thought about it just now. Oh no, I need that classroom information. So if you did not know, I always think people know this, but they may forget, there's this green line when you hover over the materials, it goes from this gray line to this green line. And when I click on it, I get the option to add content right there. If I were to just click add materials, add folder, it's going to go to the bottom and then I have to drag it up. Instead, I can click this line, add folders, and let's put classroom information. So in here, this is information all about me, Mrs. Patterson. I don't know if you guys know this, but you can use Bitmojis. And I'd have this cool coffee lady. I'm going to use her. And now my folder can be my Bitmoji picture, a little bit bigger. And then let's move her over to the right. So look at that. So this is classroom information for me. Again, this whole session today is about communicating with parents, communicating with students, communicating with anybody. The very first folder in my course is going to be classroom information. It could even be the last folder, so they can always just scroll to the bottom. And then I'm going to put all of those PDFs in here, or the links to my Google documents. Those are going to be here. And again, if I don't want it at the top, I just click and drag and move it to the bottom of my course, and it will stick down there as well. What are some other ways you can communicate using a course? Well, under the materials, which is where we're organizing our content, I'll come back to talk about pages here in just a moment. We have that we have that update section. This update section is going to be where I post all my updates about my course. And again, these are going to be announcements in a way. So again, Friday is going to be our benchmark. Please bring your library book to read when you get done. So I'm posting my text. I can make it bold. I can make the size larger. If you did not know this, if you create text somewhere else. So I'm going to just copy this real quick. I'm going to come over to Google Doc, just a blank Google Doc. I can make my font fun, make it larger, and let's make Friday be Blue Friday. Bring your library book, bold, or let's make that. So let's highlight it. So as you can see, the font that I use over here in Google Docs or any document that's created when it comes over, that was a terrible example, but it can stick. Carla does work well. I use Carla a lot. Once you get it in here, you can post this, and when you post it again, it's going to become it's going to be an update. Students are going to see it when they land in the Schoology. If they have the Schoology app, they will get the notification. I want to show you one more thing. So with Schoology, one other option that you have is that you can, of course, insert content. You guys saw this with groups, so I'm not going to go over it again. I can attach files, links, stuff from my resources. I can have an audio and video recording as my update. I can have a poll. So, like what book are you bring a fiction or nonfiction book? I can copy to my courses, just like I did with events. I can create an update within my course, and that update I can send to all of my other courses. But this little guy right here, I want to bring you guys to, right next to post. See him right here? I know he's kind of hard to see, but when you click on it, you can check mark this bell. And what this bell does, watch when I click post, is it puts it up here and an announcement. So even though I'm in updates, I see my update. If I go to materials, it's up there too. So another way to communicate is by the updates area, clicking that button right here and selecting the bell. The bell pins the update to the top of your course. So no matter if they're materials or if they're under updates, it's going to stay at the top. When you no longer want that to be an update, maybe it's Monday or it is Friday and we don't need it anymore, I just have to click that remove button and it's no longer at the top of my course. If you are a big updates person and you wish that your students, when they came to the course, went to updates first before they go to materials, that's a great point, Neely. Thank you for sharing. You can actually change the landing page of your course. So it's set at default that when students go courses and they click on your course, it takes them straight to materials. That is their default landing page. If you want their default to change to updates, you're going to click course options and you're going to select edit privacy course settings. We kind of got in this area in our groups. And you're going to come down and you're going to see where it says default landing page. You can change that to update. So now when they click on your course, it's going to land here first, which I really encourage its secondary land because you're probably posting updates all the time. You want them to click on your course, see the updates first, then they can click on materials to get started on their work. Again, that was course options, edit privacy course settings, and it was at the bottom where it says default landing page. One more piece about updates that I don't want to miss because it's so powerful is this link right here. If you are telling your kids when you come to school on Monday, please get started in Unit 1's work, okay? Yes, default landing page. And when you type this out, after they read this, they have to go to materials and they have to find Unit 1 folder. Where is that at? How do I click into it? Well, with this really cool, robust linking that we have, you highlight the word that you want them to click on that will take them straight to that location. So here I'm going to say, let's say, please get started in Units 1 work. I want that all to be hyperlinked and take them straight to Unit 1. So I can highlight it. I'm going to click this button that says inline link. And when I click it, it's going to ask, do you want to take them to like a link? Or there's an option to click on course materials. So I'm going to click on course materials. As you can see, Unit 1 is right here. I click the box, or I could open it up and I can select a content within inside of the folder. I just want it to take them straight to the folder. Select, save changes, post, Now, as you can see, when you come into school on Monday, please get started in Unit 1's work. When they click on the hyperlink, it's going to take them straight into Unit 1. So if you're all about the less clicks, which that is me, that inline link is so powerful when you're posting updates because you can direct them straight to a material. How are we doing? Any questions? So when we're talking about communication, I thought about how helpful a page is when we talk about communication. So I threw in some example of some awesome pages. Some of you may have already seen this before, but again, the topic today is about communication and collaboration. And so these are great ways to communicate within Schoology. A page is like a blank website for you guys. As you can see, this example of a page is just sharing information. It has hyperlinks on here. You can use Immersive Reader, which reads the text aloud. Here is an example of a page that just has, here's your task for the week. We're going to listen to the book. Let's think about main idea. Here's our anchor chart to remind you what main idea is. You're going to click on this to complete this graphic organizer. While you're at it, take a break. All of this is done on a page rather than a link, a document, a link. We did all of it on a page. Here's a great page of outline of weekly assignments. If you're on the A track, this is what is expected of you. B track, here's what you'll see. Another idea is a choice board, so allowing students to take choice in their learning. You can have that within Schoology. These could be hyperlinks to different activities within the course or external websites if needed. Here is, we're getting into the unit age of exploration. So in here, I'm going to have our standards. Here's a video. Here's select your time period for identity. And as you can see, this is going to help you get into the content. This is kind of like the pre-work or the information. Here's your language tools grid, all of the links that you need to help you be successful in this unit or in my class can be found here. Think of like a syllabus. Giving information rather than via slideshow, you can always do it text within a page. And as you can see, all of that is listed here for learning. Here's your computer lab keyboarding. So our links to the sites that we use, rather than them being a link, you could create a nice table with all of the icons here. Makes it a little bit easier, especially if our younger kiddos. We have a Spanish page with information in Spanish. If you have Immersive Reader, just a heads up, it may change it back to their language. Great practice for kids if they are just practicing some skills. And then a great idea for pages can be adding some science labs, things like CK12 or PhET. They embed nicely on a page. So a page for you guys might look something like, let me go back to my sandbox. Let's see, is that where I want to be? Nope. Go back just a bit more right here. And so in your course, I'm going to put my agenda up here at the top so that actually let's go into Unit 1. We're going to go into Unit 1 and I'm going to put information about our astronomy unit. So I want my page to go up here at the top. So I'm going to click my add materials or my drop down. I'm going to select add page. And as you can see, this is your weekly outline. And then I'm going to come in here, use a beautiful table. And it's going to be day. And then I'm going to do, don't use tab, may or must do goes first, must do, and then may do. So this will be Monday, yes, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Friday is going to be their testing day. So then I can come in here and I can give a bulleted list of things they must do, read, assignments. You guys get the point. And so I could put all of that on an agenda for them. and I can create. So here they know this is their weekly outline. This is what is expected of them through this week. Even hyperlink. I showed you guys that inline link. I could use that so that they know what is done, what is expected of them. As you can see here, they have to click on this to open up my outline. With Pages, one thing that you can do is you can do what's called inline with Pages. So I'm going to show you where you click that. You come down here. It's a little piece of paper. It's kind of hard to see. It says display on new page. That is the default setting, is that they have to click on it to view it. But if you want it to be in line, you click on that paper. It makes it color. I click Save Changes. And now, as you can see, my weekly outline is up here. They did not have to click on weekly outline to see what's expected of them. It's greeting them at the top. Again, that was at the bottom down here where it says options. It was set default as display on new page. I click on it and it displays in line. And so now you can see how it looks right here on a page. If you have multiple periods of the same class, can you do one group? I think I might need to hear what you are wanting. I would have to understand a bit more. We can't skip over talking about communication without talking about the envelope feature up here. Just remind you, this is a great place to communicate with students. Again, if they have that Schoology app on their phone, if you send them a message, they're going to see the message right away on their phone. It will give them that push notification. I just have to click on new message. I need to send a message to my student Rachel. We're going to have a conference. And when are you available to meet? I can attach files, I can add links, I can add resources from my Schoology resources, I can add resources from my Google resources. I can even send audio and video recording. So if you're a voice memo people like me, typing out a message takes so much longer than just sending a short voice memo. I could do that straight from here and send that voice memo to them like, hey, haven't seen you in a while. When are you free? I'd love to chat. And then it'll play back to them when they get the message. When I click send, it goes into the students' messages. As you can see, Rachel Green has one message waiting for her. There's my message. I'm going to click on it. And it says, when are you available to meet? So we can respond to each other and communicate that way. Students cannot message other students in Schoology. Students can only message teachers. Teachers can message students. Teachers can message other teachers. And if you have parents in Schoology, teachers and parents can message each other as well. Messaging. Oh, in your course, you do have an option to send a message to your whole course. Now, my question for you is, why would you want to do that? I always wonder. There are people out there who do it, and that's fine. And so when you're in your course, under that course image is send message, and you can send a message to all members. My always thought here is like, let's say you're saying, hey, Friday is our benchmark, be sure to bring a library book. If a student asks a question through a message, it only is a question like you and that student will see. So my question is, why not post it as an update? Because maybe somebody else had that same question, but they were nervous to ask. So they were hoping somebody else would ask. Or if they ask a question on an update, maybe one of the students can answer the question before you get around to doing it because you're teaching all day or you're offline for the evening. So there are purposes for sending a mass message to a class. If you do, this is what the message looks like. Mrs. Reed sent a message to this course titled Field Trip. And as you can see, we're taking a zoo. She attached the field trip. If I respond to her in this message, it only goes to her. It does not go to a huge threaded conversation. So again, there are reasons for why you might send a message to your whole class, but there also may be reasons that could that message be an update? I would think about that. Any questions about courses when it comes to communication? Again, in our course, I have all of the resources that you need for today's training. I'm going to use this last 15 minutes to ask you to complete my session evaluation. I know that Matthew's popping on here in a bit to have a session evaluation as well. And I'm sorry you have to do two. One is for Power School and one is for MCS. So that's why we have two of them. The other thing that I want to use this time for are any questions. I know that you may have questions about Schoology that don't relate to today's training. So this last 15 minutes is going to be those two evaluations and Q&A time with me. So in our course is that link. I will also put it in the chat, and I know Matthew's probably working on his and getting his in there as well. But we appreciate you taking the time to do that. And feel free to use this time to ask any Q&A questions you might have. Okay, I just put mine in there and Matthew's is in there too. So be sure to find that chat in Zoom. That is where you'll get those links at. My evaluation is also in the course, but the chat is the fastest way in my opinion. I do want to put in a plug that on December 4th, I will be doing the elements of elementary. So this session on December 4th is for Schoology users pre-K through 5. If that is you, be sure to go to the catalog that Matthew mentioned at the start and get signed up for that training. It will be a great time and again, meant for all elementary teachers. I don't think I have any. There you go. Again, this is your time to ask any questions you may have about Schoology. While you have me on the call, please feel free to ask. Yep, you are good to go once you have completed surveys and you don't have any questions. I just wanted to provide you this time for questions. I don't know if you would know, but we have a 7-8 at our site. They don't show up on my Schoology. You may want to reach out to your ed tech people, your MCS ed techs. They may be able to answer that question. I'm not sure if I know the answer. Sorry. Of course. The survey links were up a bit in the chat. Let me see if I can get them back down there for you. Here is the MCS survey. And then here is my survey coming next. Thank you guys. Appreciate you coming and being great participants. There you go. Yes, you're welcome. Ooh, I love that idea, True. Groups at your school. Yes, email the help desk. Sorry, Matthew, I always forget. Help desk. Definitely want to go there. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you.